While there are plenty of songs around for Halloween, let's check out the scariest ones. You know, the ones that set the scene to make even grown men squeal like a little girl. You know that riff, don't you? That well-known sound tells us immediately what the next destination is. In creating the introduction to Highway to Hell, AC/DC's Angus Young came up with a basic guitar riff, which became one of the most recognisable in rock music. Highway to Hell is the opening track of AC/DC's album of the same name. Released in 1979, it soon entered the top 40 charts around the world, and has shown up in charts several times since then. The reason for the title of the song, followed by the entire album, came up in an interview in which the journalist asked the group about their tour life. Guitarist Angus Young described it as Road to Hell. In a later interview, Angus said, "All we'd done is describe what it's like to be on the road for 4 years. A lot of it was bus and car touring with no real break. When you're sleeping with the singer's socks 2 inches from your nose, that's pretty close to hell." It's a song that's been covered many times, sometimes by those you'd least expect to see singing an AC/DC song. Sadly, lead vocalist and complete rock legend, Bon Scott, was found dead in the back of a friend's car on February 19 after a night of partying. The mystery of his death remains to this day. We love you, Bon. Fans of the long-running show Supernatural will easily recall the many times serious classic rock has played during scenes involving Baby, Dean's black 1967 Chevy Impala, including Highway to Hell in the very first episode. The song can be interpreted many ways, including driving along that scary nightmare road at night, to that fun road trip to work each day. Halloween road trip, anybody?
On the highway to hell, I put a spell on you.
Witches and wizards and their ability to cast spells has always been a key element of the spookiness of Halloween.
Because you're mine.
Creedence Clearwater Revival's rocky and spooky I Put a Spell on You is a cover version of the 1956 classic, written and composed by Screamin' Jay Hawkins, whose own recording of it was selected as one of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 songs that shaped rock and roll.
I put a spell on you.
Hawkins had originally intended to record I Put a Spell on You as a refined love song, a blues ballad. However, Hawkins reported that the producer had gotten everybody drunk and that they came out with this weird version, and then he found out that he could do more by destroying a song and screaming it to death. I Put a Spell on You has been covered by other artists extensively. There are several hundred versions.
I don't like the things you do. I ain't lying.
Nina Simone's truly memorable version reached number 23 on the US Billboard R&B chart in 1965. Creedence Clearwater Revival's version reached number 58 on the US Hot 100 in 1968. The band later performed it at the Woodstock Festival in '69. Combining an awesomely haunting guitar solo with John Fogerty's scary vocals, Creedence's version of this spooky classic is an important part of any Halloween playlist.
I ain't gonna take none of your fool around.
One of the most spellbinding versions was Bette Midler's performance in the 1993 film Hocus Pocus.
I put a spell on you, and now you're gone.
Ahoo, werewolves of London. Ahoo.
Werewolves of London by the late great American singer-songwriter Warren Zevon was a surprise hit in 1978. Zevon's howling throughout the song, mixed with lyrics about a rather classy monster, painted a picture that was easy for listeners to like the character as well as the funky song. The song actually began as a joke by Phil Everly of the Everly Brothers in 1975. Everly had just seen the 1935 film Werewolf of London and suggested Zevon adapt the title for a song. Written in 15 minutes, with Leroy Marinelle and Waddy Wachell, it was actually 3 years before it was considered for inclusion on an album.
Well, he's that hairy-handed gent that ran amok in Kent, and lately he has been overheard in Mayfair.
However, after hearing the novelty song the day after it was written, friend Jackson Browne started performing it live in 1975.
He was looking for the place called HOCUS. Gonna get a big dish of beef chow mein.
For any of us not living in London, the werewolf looking for a place called Lee Ho Fook would have meant nothing. But the significance changes when you find out that it's actually a real Chinese restaurant in London. Werewolves of London became an overnight hit. BBC listeners have actually rated it as having the best opening line in a song. Zevon later said of the song, "I don't know why that became such a hit. We didn't think it was suitable to be played on the radio." He actually described Werewolves of London as a novelty song, referred to as a dumb song for smart people. The folklore tale of a man that can shapeshift to a wolf has fascinated people since the time of the Roman Empire, and it became more widely known after the Middle Ages when witches also became widely feared, which continues even until now. The song had a resurgence in popularity in 1986 due to its use in a scene in The Colour of Money, where Tom Cruise dances and lip-syncs to the song. Wolfie has been making a big comeback in recent years. You've probably seen him in quite a few TV shows and movies, some taking the whole Wolfman thing a bit more seriously than others. He is clearly the perfect Halloween party guest.
I'd like to meet his tailor.
The best song about another dude who has become a favourite at any serious Halloween party. Blue Oyster Cult's 1976 classic Don't Fear the Reaper was written and sung by lead guitarist Donald Buck Dharma Rosa, who says the song deals with eternal love and the inevitability of death. He wrote the song while picturing an early death for himself. Fun guy. The song was Blue Oyster Cult's highest chart success, reaching number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 in late 1976. It is listed at number 405 on Rolling Stone's list of the top 500 songs of all time. With lines like Romeo and Juliet are together in eternity, many listeners thought the song was about a murder-suicide pact. But Dharma insists that the song is actually about eternal love, rather than suicide, using Romeo and Juliet to describe a couple who wanted to be together in the afterlife. The line 40,000 men and women every day, which is used several times, was actually just a guess at the statistics, and it actually turned out to be 100,000 less than the real figure. That's scary. In the 4 decades since its release, the song has been used more than 24 times in film, television, and video games. In the original Halloween movie, the song plays in the car when Jamie Lee Curtis's character is being stalked by the serial killer Michael Myers. The Reaper has taken many forms in TV and film, many looking pretty ominous with the standard black death robes and scythe, although there's been plenty of comedic portrayals of the scary dude. Let's face it, he's still pretty scary. Even this guy. In April 2000, Saturday Night Live aired the now famous comedy sketch More Cowbell. Written by Will Ferrell, the sketch has a fictionalised version of the recording of Don't Fear the Reaper on an episode of VH1's Behind the Music. The sketch soon took on its own identity as More Cowbell and became one of the first super memes of the 21st century.
I'll be honest, fellas, it was sounding great, but I could have used a little more cowbell.
If there was ever a song that could send shivers up your spine as soon as it starts, this is it.
Psycho killer.
The 1977 hit Psycho Killer by Talking Heads first appeared on their debut album Talking Heads 77. However, they had been playing the song since 1974, when they were known as the Artistics. The unnerving lyrics are sung like they are the thoughts of a serial killer, and were inspired by the character Norman Bates in the movie Psycho. Due to the timing of its release as a single in December 77, many people instantly associated Psycho Killer with the Son of Sam serial killings that had been happening around that time. Although the band always insisted that the song had no inspiration from the notorious events, some people have still insisted that the single's release date was eerily timely and marked a macabre synchronicity. Lead singer and songwriter David Byrne never thought this would be a hit. He actually called it a silly song and was surprised when it did take off. He also said that he believed that both the Joker and Hannibal Lecter were much more fascinating than the good guys, suggesting that everybody sort of roots for the bad guys in the movies. While many instantly think of the masked or disguised mass murderer when they hear the phrase psycho killer, these creators of many a Halloween nightmare come in all shapes and sizes, often looking like just another ordinary person who just happens to want to kill people. Massachusetts band The Fools released a 1980 parody of the song called Psycho Chicken.
Psycho chicken.
Welcome to my nightmare. I think you're gonna like it.
Who else but rock music's king of scariness and horror would be number one on this list?
I hope I didn't scare you.
Welcome to My Nightmare is the title track to Alice Cooper's first solo album, also called Welcome to My Nightmare, released in March 1975. This was a concept album. Played in sequence, the songs form a journey through the nightmares of a boy named Stephen. In an interview, Alice said he has always loved horror movies and also loves theatre and musicals. He claims he always had the grand idea that he could take the basic album and create a stage show from it, which is what he eventually did.
That's just where we are. When we come down. Yeah.
The album inspired the Alice Cooper Nightmare TV special, then a worldwide concert tour in '75, plus the Welcome to My Nightmare concert film in '76. The album tour was noted as one of the most over-the-top rock shows of the late 70s. Not satisfied with scaring just rock music fans, Alice took his freakiness into the family living rooms when he appeared on The Muppet Show.
We sweat and laugh and scream here.
While we all have nightmares at some point in time, Alice Cooper's classic seems to open an imaginary door into our darkest dreams and invite us in, attempting to assure us that even though it's going to be spooky, there's nothing to fear, as you're not alone. However, not all nightmares are the same or have the same effect. Some people may even be actually experiencing their worst nightmares in real life. Well, there you have it, rockers. Did we get it right? If you can think of any that we might have missed, please mention them in the comments below. If we get enough good suggestions, we might make a second list. The first of you to mention any song that gets included in a further 10 will be acknowledged and thanked in the new video. Oh, and please remember to click like and subscribe if you want to see more lists like this one. Thanks so much for watching, and keep rocking.